And so today we just wanted to have a chat with you to understand part of the process and maybe some of the things that you've been going through, how you've managed to get this far. So yeah, maybe the first question I'd like to Norma, the first answer I'd like to get from you is how you got into the tech space. Like uliandika your first code lini? How did you like get into it? Kwanza, how did you get started in the tech journey?
Yeah, sure. I think also let me share. I like uh so that it's not very I'll try and also share like some I like giving stories with memes or gifs. Let me share something. Let me share my screen and then start talking. How do I share a specific screen? Cool. Nice. So I'm assuming this is showing my yeah, so the beginning. Um where do I begin? So I started tech before I joined campus. So it was after Form 4. I I think a lot of people are going to do what are they called? Computer packages, languages, and I was the guy who was just floating around, enjoying life, not doing anything. And I needed to do something. Then I think I saw some friends sharing their stories, like bugs were really uh, beating their ass, and I was curious what are these guys doing, and I think they were in a boot camp with Immobilis, so that's why I started doing uh, actual coding. So I joined Immobilis. I did web. I started with web, doing some PHP. I think that's when I also did some HTML, CSS stuff that never stuck. Then I went to Android. And yeah, I remember being in this class. I mean, I was very new to coding, and there were people who had some experience. Yeah, people are creating some crazy stuff. I remember like the final project I did was very. I don't even know how it worked. There's a lot of copy pasting from a lot of articles. Um, I didn't even know what things like GitHub are. I had created a GitHub account. This was in 2016. I'd just created like a GitHub account. I didn't even know I just had people talk about GitHub. I don't even know what GitHub is. I just created a GitHub account just to say I have a GitHub account. Um, and people are doing all this. People are showcasing their apps, doing all this crazy stuff. I think there's even one guy in our class who was like featured in a newspaper or something. And then there was me who, yeah, there's me just copy pasting articles and hoping stuff works out. And yeah, that was quite an interesting uh, jump from just my chilling life to now trying to solve issues with code. But I didn't really have the best computer at the time, so I was using I think it was my dad's computer. And at the time, the I think that in terms of resources, and I was mostly into Android, which requires a lot of. At the time, there was no Android Studio. Okay, Android Studio was like a new-ish, cool kid tech thing. It was what we were using to build Android apps at the time was called Eclipse. I don't think it still exists. Maybe Java people still use it. But yeah, it's this. I had to use this because Android Studio was very responsive. Computers using I think I had like 2 gigs of RAM. So I would like wait for builds for very long times, like go have dinner, maybe watch a movie, come back, build the app. It was very frustrating. So that was how I kind of started my tech journey. Because sometimes I actually find it hilarious when I see online people want to start their tech journeys with MacBooks and stuff. But yeah, that was how I started mine. Yeah, so from there I joined Campus IT. Yeah, I joined JQuat for IT. Yeah, I was in JQuat for almost 4 years. I left JQuat because I was on the side. I was actually, I mean, over the years I got better with coding. I got into programs like I think at the time there was like a program called ALC, the first was no, I was in the second. Was it the second? Yeah, I think the second cohort. So yeah, there was this Andela program where it ran across the whole of Africa, and they were selecting people from there was a web track and mobile track, and web was split into two. There was back end, front end. No, there was front end, full stack, and Android. So I enrolled with the Android. I didn't really rate my Android skills at the time, so I just chose the Android basics. But then after submit, you had to do like this form of sort of submission. After submitting, I was put in the intermediate. I was put in the intermediate track, and this meant I had to like work twice as much just to catch up with what other people are doing. But I think also doing this helped me kind of ramp up my skills very fast and be exposed to other people who have experience. And yeah, thousands of people did it. And from the thousands, 100 of us were selected for all three tracks. Yeah, for all three tracks. I was fortunate enough to be one of the few people who were able to finish this curriculum and like get like a sign off and the nano degree stuff. So I did that. My skills ramped up. Then I started getting some friends would recommend people to come to me to build the apps. So I would build apps. I didn't really used to get paid much, like maybe 5K, 10K. I mean, at the time I'm still in campus, so this for me this is like good considering like this. Uh, yeah, like if you're in campus and you're just getting like this 5K, 3K, 10K. This is good-ish money at the time. I mean, I don't have all those life responsibilities. So for me at the time, that was like all my weekends. I always know every weekend I'm sorted. I have something. I can do something. Um, then I'm trying to remember what's changed. Yeah, so I started doing this. Then at some point, I got started doing a bit more contracting jobs. I think I started getting paid like maybe around 20K, like just doing short-term projects. Sometimes I didn't. There's some people who never paid me. I have stories of not being paid a few times. I build something, then someone just disappears or takes the project and disappears, or they just stop replying. So yeah, that has happened a few times. Yeah, it is what it is. Then yeah, I think there's some people I tried like complaining, threatening them, I'll take them to court and everything. I mean, I don't even have, I mean, I'm still in campus. I don't even have money to do all this, like take them to court or anything. But yeah, that happened. Then I think I started applying randomly to jobs based out of Kenya. So I shot my shot in every single company I saw. So at the time, Stack Overflow had this section called Stack Overflow Jobs. I think they shut it down, but yeah, at the time they tell you this company is hiring, they offer visa relocation, this visa, they do the whole visa thing for you. So I was applying to every single job. I didn't care if I have the skills or not. I was just like, it's like I had a machine gun and I was shooting at everything that comes in my way. So just sending my CV to every single job that I saw. Most of them were no's. Most of them were like, uh, unfortunately, some of them didn't even take 30 minutes to to even process. But then I think one or two responded. So initially, my plan was I was never planning on moving to Germany, or my thing was just like whichever job I land, I'm good with it. So uh, I got my yeah, I got the invited to the first interview. This was Trivago at the time. Did the interviews. I also remember at the time I was doing these interviews, my laptop was, I think I'd broken one of the hinges. It was like broken or something. So when I was doing the interviews, I had to hold the laptop in some weird position with my hands. Yeah, I did the interviews. ace the interviews, though I didn't sleep during this interview phase. It was crazy. I had to ramp up my skills again very fast. Like I went through the job requirements because like this is the one shot I've been given and I have to give it my all. So I remember I was back home at this time. I was back home at this time and people will like, go to sleep, leave me in the sitting room. I'm still like coding, trying to figure out why my code is not running. I had like 1 week to submit some assessment and I had to give it my all. So I had like, I don't know, 50 plus tabs open, um, trying to read different people's codes, reading different articles at the same time, trying to combine all this knowledge into something that works. So, I mean, eventually that did pay off. I got the job offer, got the job, and I had to move to Germany. So, during this time when I had to move to Germany is when COVID hit. So I couldn't move to Germany. And I had again to wait for, I had to wait for like, yeah, the embassies closed. So I had to wait for like 8 months for me to come to Germany. And I mean, yeah, at the time, I was, uh, I mean, I couldn't wait. I mean, if you wait 8 months, I mean, the job offer is gonna get rescinded. They're gonna take back their offer because yeah, who's gonna wait 8 months to hire this person? We want the person now. So I had to uh, switch my what's it work my ways of working and just decided to become a contractor at this point and started working for them as a contractor based in Kenya. So I was working remotely for the past couple of months. The pay was really good. I think at this time I was also in my last semester in JQuat, but I decided to defer. So my initial idea, now I just remembered looking back, my idea was I'm going to defer for like 1 or 2 years, come back to Kenya and continue and finish my last semester. But yeah, it's been 3 years and I haven't gone back. So yeah, that's so far the journey leading up to me coming to Germany. Um, yeah, I mean, a lot of things happened in between. I mean, from the point of moving to Germany to now, I think there's a bunch of other things that have happened in between. Guess we'll get into that a bit later. Yeah.
That's quite an interesting. That's quite an interesting journey to that point. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly, clearly.
Yeah, I'm saying that's quite an interesting part of the journey. But I was just wondering,
Mhm.
um, through this journey, when you ulianza from high school, when you joined campus, I'm just wondering how much how much importance would you accord the how much would you say the community and environment about you around you play a part in
Uh,
helping you achieve that growth? In helping you um, progress faster? How much would you say maybe the 154 community, any other community that you interacted with? How important would you say they are in like helping someone get the skills faster?
yeah, I think in terms of community, so I think I used to, so yeah, I think at some point I used to be like had this solo coding mentality. I just like took things in my own. But then I think I was first exposed to community when I did the ALC thing, the umbrella community, and I realized if you have people who are also going through the same problems technically, it's easier to solve all these problems you're facing. It's easier to understand the frustrations you're going through, and it's easier to find someone who's also like in a similar path. I mean, everyone has a different path, but there's gonna be some overlapping similarities. So this kind of in terms of community, I think from the rejection emails to campus was DSC. So we used to have this weekly, was it weekly? Weekly, what are they called? Weekly meetings. Like anyone could present something or talk about uh, the technology they're looking into, something they're building. If someone needs help, or you want to build something as a collective. So this is also a nice place to work on collaboration skills and just presenting, technical ideas to other people. The other community that I was exposed to was, I think, Android 254, Android 254. Yeah, Android 254. So they used to have, in Nairobi, they used to have, uh, was it monthly? I think it was monthly meetings every weekend. I think they still happen to date. More in terms of presenting, now you're away from the school environment. Like mostly you find people who are either in the actual professional space, people who are actually working with the technologies in their day-to-day jobs, people who are looking to hire, people who are looking for jobs. So this one was also a nice one. Also Kotlin Kenya as well. Yeah, I think there are a bunch of other other communities, depending on whatever technology you're into: Python, Go, Rust, Ruby, whatever. So yeah, communities do play a part. I think, especially when it comes to uh, building your networks, working on your presentation skills, because if you do join a company, at some point you'll have to do a demo, or demonstrate what you've been building. What are you getting paid for? Um, in terms of expanding, or like figuring out what you can do with other technologies, or just in your domain. I mean, as much as, for example, I do Android, there are parts of Android where I've never touched. For example, I've never built apps for a watch, but then you get to meet people who've done such kind of things, or building apps for cars. So all this mix of experience is quite nice. Kind of opens up your mind technically. So community definitely helps in its own way. I would recommend joining one, or just going to one of these meetups whenever you have some time. So yeah.
It makes me think or wonder, uh, like being a GD in a foreign country with a different culture. How is that taking you? How?
Yeah, being a GD in a foreign, yeah, I remember, I think after I was having an interesting discussion also with another GD who, I think, yeah, different people have different cultures. Even, I mean, some cultures just tend to be naturally, let's say, like loud, outgoing. I mean, you can, in some cultures, when you do some certain things, it might feel like you're bragging, but in some cultures, when you do certain things, it's just you, showcasing your work, being, just being proud of your achievements, which is totally fine. But for some cultures, this is a bit strange. You don't go, thumping your chest with all you've achieved. And this sometimes, um, uh, yeah, I mean, yeah, this can sometimes lead to, I don't know, two opposing forces. So I'd say, as much as I think, for example, I feel like Kenyan culture, we don't really, if someone really thumps their chest with all their achievements, they might be seen as bragging a bit, which sometimes is not really the case. I usually say, if someone actually did that thing, they actually did that thing, and you should be proud about what you did and what you've achieved. Because yeah, if someone like this finds themselves in a cultural place where people are constantly doing this, you might feel like you're getting shadowed. You're like getting into the shadows. So I'd say, whenever you do something, or whenever you do some good or your work, or you're proud of what you've achieved, or you you've just done something awesome, I'd encourage you to talk about it, be proud of it. I think this also when you do this, it opens up some doors for you, or some people notice, because yeah, you're the only one who can. I think the best person who can vouch for you is you. Everyone doesn't. I mean, other people might not really know what you're doing, until you actually tell them and be like loud about, this is what I'm doing, or this is what I'm planning to do. So yeah, I think this is as far as getting recognition for things you're doing, because I think, yeah, the GDE program kind of identifies people who've been doing this. If you've shared your experience, technical experience, we've talked about technologies. I mean, it's not only Android, there's also web technologies, but if you've been sharing experience, writing about it, don't know, you've been recording videos, you've just been doing these things. I mean, technically, you're already a GDE. Um, so yeah, I think that's all it takes to become a GDE. And yeah, if you're already doing this and you feel like you need to be a GDE and no one has approached, I mean, you can always approach another GDE or a Google and be like, hey, I've been doing all this stuff. That's if you need it. I mean, if you want to be a GDE.
Okay. Interesting. Thank you for sharing the extra bit.
Yep.
Um, I think it was important for us to get the background stuff to understand how you started. But then there's something you mentioned.
Hmm.
Um, I think we can hear the echo because you're trying to record on
Okay.
another device.
Hey, let me see. It's an echo.
Yeah. It, yeah, it's not there now. So I was saying it was important for us to get the background of how you started, how you joined, but then there's something profound you mentioned. When you started your first gigs, Kunadi gig, you were being paid 5,000 bob, maybe 10,000. Um, I'm sure there's someone here wondering, the people maybe who've been doing tech for some time, 6 months, 8 months, 2 years, and maybe they're yet to get their first role. Um, I've met so many people in the community asking themselves, what am I doing wrong? What am I supposed to do? I've been applying for jobs, I'm not getting interviews. Uh, what would you tell such a person? Because kuna watu now kuna a lot of pressure online. Well, because most people get into tech, to be honest, nowadays to try and get the money. Yeah, you get. So siku hizi kuna a lot of pressure. Mtu amefanya tech for 1 year, 2 years, then they want to get that big check. Msee amefanya for 6 months, unachanga bona hizi by a Germany car or something. So it's quite inspiring to hear you say that your first gig was 5,000 and you did a few other gigs for like
I mean, I've had instances where, of course, I was rejected once, but then I actually landed an interview with them